Hello and welcome back to Pics and Portraits. I did not plan for Retrofuturism in animation to become a series, but here we are. What can I say? There's a lot about our present that isn't great, and it's comforting to get lost in the future of the past. So far, we've looked at Tex Avery's Tunes of Tomorrow, how anime predicted the future, and Walt Disney's futuristic visions. This time, we are going to be looking at The Simpsons and how they saw tomorrow. A few disclaimers first. This is not going to be a listicle of all the times The Simpsons predicted real-world events. That's a saturated market, and not really what I'm interested in. I'm more into how they imagined the future and developed the world and relationships. We're also going to be focusing on episodes that take place in the future, and will not include flash-forward scenes and otherwise current episodes. Do feel free to mention some in the comments, though. Also, we are not including Bart Hood and Mr. Lisa's Opus, as they do not present a future that is drastically different from the time they were produced. Now, these futures are generally non-canonical, though some have common themes or events, like Milhouse and Lisa dating, as an example, or Maggie singing. So yeah, on that note, let's dive into what is probably the most beloved of all Simpsons futures, Lisa's wedding from season 6. This takes place in 2010, 15 years after production, and was the first real attempt to predict the future of these characters. The framing device is a fortune teller at a Renaissance fair who foresees Lisa meeting a wealthy Englishman while away at university. We see familiar staples like video calling, VR, and automation. There's actually an Android librarian as well. It also forecasts online schooling and corporate-sponsored education. Troy McClure has a great line, the redhead in the Chicago school system, which I love. It says so much for so little. In terms of other advancements or changes, soy-based food is easily accessible. Big Ben has been converted to digital time, and cars, while still wheeled, have taken sleeker, more futuristic designs. We also see a holographic tree, and the cable for cable television is huge to accommodate 1,500 channels, and all the major networks have merged into one, owned by ABC. This episode was directed by Jim Reardon and written by Greg Daniels, and it's fascinating seeing the choices they made as to what became of certain characters. Bart works construction, while Homer has the same job, only now reports to Milhouse. Otto runs a cab company Quimby works for, following a political scandal. Mr. Burns is cryogenically frozen, and Martin Prince haunts the halls of Springfield Elementary after a science fair explosion. Lisa's exceptionalism is on full display here as well. She is the pride of the town, and this would carry over to our next future, Season 11's Bart to the Future. Now, this has not aged well at all, and his portrayal of Indigenous people is framed around a mystic showing Bart 30 years into his future, so roughly 2030. Here he is a deadbeat who plays in a Gulf and Western band with Ralph, while Lisa is President of the United States. Elephant in the room. Lisa assumes the office after Trump. It's established the country is broke, yet we don't really see much evidence of this. Things are running as normal. We get more holograms, virtual food, and laser shields. There is also hovering vehicles, buses, but conventional wheeled buses still exist for poor people, which is a detail I love, very realistic, and television that is beamed directly into your head via a gun. In terms of characters, Flanders is blind after laser eye surgery, which was gaining popularity at the time. Rod and Todd are closeted. Nelson has grown into a slimy promoter, and through him we learned that Smell You Later has replaced Goodbye. While not identical or directly linked, Lisa's wedding and Bart to the Future share some commonalities, of course being produced around the same time, relatively speaking. They are both inspired by 60s and 70s futurism, so lots of glass domes or frivolous fins and spoilers on cars, satellite dishes, which makes sense given that's when those creating these grew up. They are both somewhat consistent with the character designs and how they predicted age. Love this Krusty in the wheelchair. And yeah, I'm sure most casual fans of the show are familiar with both of these visions. Going a little further ahead in time, though, after many may have dropped off, we have Futurama from season 16, 2005. The name is obviously a play off of Futurama and features a cameo by Bender, which is not the last time we're going to see him in this universe. The story is framed around Bart and Lisa stumbling into Frink's lab during a fight, who in turn shows them their future. Specifically, their high school prom, so 2013. This is a much darker take on the family's future. Homer and Marge are separated due to Homer blowing all of their money on an underwater house. He also owns an early hover car. We see the effects of climate change, with Maggie visiting the beaches of Alaska, as well as genetically modified food. There's puke that moves, gross. Also, there are Robocops, social robots, and Smile You Later is carried over as a farewell. Looking at characters and relationships, Futurama introduces us to Jenda, Bart's girlfriend, who wants him to be more proactive. Lisa is graduating 2 years early and has been awarded a scholarship to Yale, now owned by McDonald's. This was given to her by Mr. Burns, who reneges on the offer after Bart saves him from a robbery, giving it to him instead. While this improves his relationship with Jenda, it effectively dooms Lisa to a future with Milhouse, who is a roided-up mess of insecurity. Learning this, Bart gives the scholarship back to Lisa, Homer and Marge reunite, and in the end, Bart learns he will find love a minute before he dies. Now, that's a lot, and there is more. While both are single, Homer and Bart hit the town and run into Miss Hoover and Mrs. Krabappel, which foreshadows something coming up. There is a great line about the situation being weird. Krabappel asks Bart if he wants it to get weirder. Fun stuff. Futurama was followed by 2011's Holidays of Future Past. Now, not only is this one of my favorite later Simpsons episodes, it's one of my favorite episodes, period. Like Bart to the Future, it looks 30 years ahead, only to a much bleaker tomorrow. No real framing. We just jump ahead through the family's annual Christmas card photo. This is so good. It infers so much about the characters, particularly Lisa, who is revealed to be queer, and Polly at one point, which is very on brand. Eventually, she ends up with Milhouse, pregnant, and moves out, while Maggie rises to fame as a rock star, and Bart stays at home until he's kicked out. In this 2041, Springfield Elementary has been converted into lofts. This is where Bart, now a deadbeat father of two, lives, following a separation from Jenda. We also get medical robots, text implants, and lots of holograms, books, and television. The internet is VR that you plug yourself into. Lisa's daughter Zia is obsessed with it. There is immersive social media, Facebook and You, or YouTube, and teleportation is the preferred method of long-distance travel, though air travel still exists for the poor, very Mad Max-like. But yeah, the family dynamics are what I think makes this episode very special. I see it as a rumination on regret and not being happy with the future you've been given, or that you made for yourself, with Bart and Lisa bonding over missed opportunities and the struggles of parenthood. Neither can really reach their children, though Homer is able to bond with his grandkids, like Gene Hackman and the Royal Tenenbaums, but can't bond with his own son, or his father, Grandpa, who is cryogenically frozen. It's resolved with Bart telling his kids that they are the only thing worth anything in his life, and Lisa learning her daughter actually looks up to her. It's very sweet and very heartwarming, as it is a Christmas episode. Not that it didn't cause controversy by suggesting Dearborn, Michigan was now under Sharia law. It was also considered at one point a possible series finale should contract negotiations fail. Obviously they didn't. Instead, the show continued, and we got the direct sequel, Days of Future Future, in 2014. This is one of the worst Simpsons futures. In it, Homer dies, is able to be cloned, but dies again. This is repeated for 30 years until he can no longer be cloned. His consciousness is then uploaded to a USB, which is a dream of mine. I want to live forever, but not with this body. This episode is bad. Homer ends up eventually a robot, Milhouse becomes a zombie, and Bart has sex with Miss Hoover, leading to the line, "Wow, now I see why they call you Miss Hoover." Innovations include many of the same seen in Holidays, with the addition of a robot crematorium and a memory eraser similar to Eternal Sunshine. Not really much more to say about this. It's the shits, and it only goes downhill from here with our last, and certainly least future, the next season's Simpsorama. This aired a month or so after the Simpsons Family Guy crossover and brought together Matt Groening's two most popular properties, The Simpsons, obviously, and Futurama, which we talked about in episode 1. I will no doubt eventually dedicate an entire episode to it, maybe sooner than later, but this was Groening's prediction of the 31st century. I always welcome more Futurama, but this is just bad. There is a novelty to seeing these universes come together, but I can think of dozens of stories that would have been better than the one they picked. Basically, Springfield compiles a time capsule to be opened in 1,000 years. Milhouse puts in a rabbit's foot, while Bart contributes a sandwich that he blew his nose on before it's lowered into radioactive waste. That night, Bender shows up. He and Homer hit it off. They become friends. Bender is made a member of the Pin Pals, but a visit to Frink reveals his mission is to actually kill Homer. This is because his DNA is linked to monster rabbits that are wreaking havoc in the 31st century. Yes, from the time capsule. A portal allows travel between the universes, or times, and most of the episode consists of characters simply interacting. That's the novelty. There are no real innovations to speak of, but there are a few self-referential gags, like the fact that Homer and Bender look identical, and that by 2014, the Bender imagined in 1999 was already obsolete. Personally, I would have liked to have seen Springfield in the 31st century and how distant relatives of characters and the city adapted to the future, as outlandish as that could have been. Also, while we do get cameos from Binky and Bongo, I would have preferred the rabbits all just resemble Binky, but that's a minor quibble. I'm not so jaded that I can't somewhat enjoy this, but it could have and should have been so much better. Now, The Simpsons has already outlived a couple of these tomorrows. It's been on for so long, but what do you think its future holds? Let me know in the comments down below. You can support us on Patreon and keep these videos coming out regularly. Patreon.com/picsandportraits. Share this video, please. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. That helps out a lot too. And look forward to more animated futures of the past, as ours just keeps getting bleaker and bleaker. There's hope yet, people, so hang on. As always, thank you so much for your interest in this channel, and thanks for watching. Stay safe out there.